Next.
Me? Ready for my $50,000 reparation check, sir.
I bet you are. Just go ahead and sign this for me real quick,
All
please.
right, and what is this?
Oh, nothing much. Just a list of companies and products that you have to swear to never use again since they have participated in either child or slave labor in your lifetime.
Oh, there's a lot of names on this list.
Yeah, it is a good amount. You got your Adidas, Bananas, Apple. In fact, any cell phone or smartphone nowadays, right? Nikes.
This doesn't seem fair, man.
Fair? I'm sorry, but you didn't actually believe that you would receive reparations for an evil that you never experienced, paid for by people who were never slave owners, while you were actively benefiting from slave labor. Right?
You know, George Floyd couldn't breathe.
Next.
Yeah.
Now, it's funny. Oh, now this parody is funny until you realize how close it is to policy. It is. So look, man, in this video, I'm going to tell y'all about how Chicago just handed out millions in reparation grants exclusively to black people. And in the parody, you're going to see instead of peace, we get demands for more, and even a Tesla. I'm not joking. Listen to what Chicago mayor said. He actually said this on stage during the Juneteenth event.
Our way will bring to black residents in reclaiming ownership of our own communities. That is the spirit of Juneteenth, you all. It is about reflecting on our past. Other cultures are taught to never forget. We need to be reminded as blacks here in Chicago and America, remembering our past and working towards a more just future. Investing in black is not a criminal act. Sister Zakiya says she need a witness, so I'm gonna say it again. Investing in black is not a criminal act. Our way will bring.
But you are turning it into one. Now, before we play the full clip of this speech that he gave, I just want to acknowledge that this wasn't a parody in comparison to the first video. This was a real taxpayer-funded message from a sitting mayor. Now, let's go back to a second skit because suddenly it doesn't feel so exaggerated anymore, y'all. Come on now, play. Come on, quit playing, play.
Boom. I got it. Reparations check in my hand, baby. Justice has been served. Let's go. Congratulations, buddy. How long until you say it's enough? Excuse me? Hey, this is a historical moment. This is going to be set in stone in history forever. Don't try to rain on my reparations parade. Chill, man. Relax. I'm just saying. We acting like we don't know that this is like giving kids candy and then expecting them to never ask for more. And next week is going to be, oh, I deserve interest, land, and a Tesla. Nah. This is the only one-time payment thing, man. Listen, peace has been downloaded, and we got to move on as a nation. This is all we wanted, man. Just a reparations check, and we got it. So, you know what I'm saying? We move on as a nation, man. Like I said, peace has been downloaded. Let's get it. All right, bro. Just make sure you keep that same energy, all right? Hey, hold up. They violated us. My cousin just texted me he only got $12,000. That's not even enough money for a down payment on a used Prius. We were thinking like at least 6 figures each. Hey, bro, I just saw you 2 weeks ago. What happened? You said you wanted to move on as a nation and peace was downloaded. I guess that emotional trauma just adjusted for inflation fast, huh? Plus, what about emotional damage? And also about systemic oppression. Hey, yo, we need reparations 2.0. This is not enough. This is starting to sound like an Apple iPhone subscription plan. For $99 a month, you can atone for the sins of your ancestors. Exactly. Guilt as a service. Monthly penance too. And you can tell them to put it on auto pay as well. Wait, let me guess. So if you get paid again, racial tensions will go away? Of course. Unless, we find new trauma. Then it will be just like a limited extension. Okay, so what you're basically saying is that no matter what they pay you, it'll never be enough. Ding, ding, ding. You hit the nail on the head. And guess what? If they stop paying, they're racist. And even if they keep paying, they're still racist, but the capitalist way. Yeah, I kind of figured. I already knew that. I just wanted a clarification.
Now, this was meant to be a joke, obviously. But I don't know. It seems like a foresight. I'm thinking about, like, when Black Americans, when we getting checks, if we was to get a check, would we say it's not enough? This parody is becoming a prophecy, in my opinion. So here's the question. How much is enough, honestly? Is it about justice, or is it about a check? Because in modern times, I can't seem to distinguish what people who are fighting for reparations. I can't seem to distinguish the angle. Now, you don't believe me. Let's watch the full clip now of Brandon Johnson real quick.
There is work we can do today to repair the harms of the past and build a better future for posterity. We know that historic disinvestment by government and private sector has left too many of our communities, particularly the South and West Side neighborhoods, without control of the assets in our own communities, excluding us from wealth building and opportunities. And that is why today, in collaboration with the Department of Planning and Development, under the leadership of Commissioner Sierra Boatwright, we are proud to announce a historic $4 million investment into community wealth building in the greatest city in the world, the city of Chicago.
Oh.
The Wealth Our Way Capital Grant Program will be administered by Community Desk Chicago. It will fund community-driven wealth building models designed by the very communities that they serve. With up to $500,000 in capital grants per project and $3.5 million reserved for shared ownership models, the investment will put economic power directly in the hands of the community that have been affected by historic slavery. The impact of this initiative will be momentous. It will reduce blighted and abandoned buildings along commercial corridors on the south and west sides, while also creating safer and more walkable communities. Local ownership will give residents more control over the product and services entering in our communities. And worker co-op businesses will provide a path for generational wealth, helping employ people from around the city, but it will also help employees become owners and creators of wealth that they can pass on to the next generation. Wealth Our Way will bring us closer to building the Chicago that our ancestors dreamed of. So please join me in recognizing and celebrating Community Desk Chicago President and CEO Janae DeFell. Thank you, Janae, and the tremendous support that Wealth Our Way will bring to Black residents in reclaiming ownership of our own communities. That is the spirit of Juneteenth, you all. It is about reflecting on our past. Other cultures are taught to never forget. We need to be reminded as Blacks here in Chicago and America, remembering our past and working towards a more just future. Investing in Black is not a criminal act.
Now, we're not just talking about reparation rhetoric. We're talking about structured race-based payouts wrapped in political ceremony and tied to historical guilt. Excuse the noise in the back, y'all. My son over there making him something to eat right now. He just waking up. But if it's about progress, why is it being framed through division? I don't understand this. We work so hard to in segregation, and we're just furthering it. And what about the legal challenges this is bound to face? And let's flash back for a second, because they're not just stopping at Chicago. Let's rewind. Kamala says she would have used executive action to ask Congress to study reparations if she had got elected.
What we need to do going forward. Look, first of all, we just need to speak truth about history, in spite of the fact that some people would try and erase history and try and teach our children otherwise. We need to speak truth about the generational impact of our history, in terms of the generational impact of slavery, the generational impact of redlining, of Jim Crow law. I could go on and on and on. These are facts that have had impact. And we need to speak truth about it. And we need to speak truth about it in a way that is about deriving solutions. And frankly, I think that we, and part of that is studying it to figure out exactly what we need to do. But part of what we can do right now is, for example, what I'm talking about in terms of building an opportunity economy, which is addressing explicitly the obstacles that historically and currently exist and dealing with them. Student loan debt, medical debt, bias in home appraisals. What we need to do in terms of dealing with an issue that I have championed for years, black maternal mortality, which is the fact that black women are 3 to 4 times more likely to die in connection with childbirth than other women. And we know that the reasons for that include disparities that pre-exist her pregnancy, including disparities that exist in the system during her pregnancy. So all of those things must be addressed.
But do you have a position on whether that should happen, this commission should happen through executive order or via Congress?
I think Congress ultimately will have the ability to do this work. I'm not discounting the importance of any executive action, but ultimately Congress. Because if you're going to talk about it in any substantial way, there will be hearings, there will be a level of public education and dialogue that, and I think that was part of the spirit behind the congressional action thus far, to ensure that everyone can participate in this conversation in a way that elevates knowledge about history and the reference points that have that are the impetus of this conversation. Especially, again, when people are trying to deny history, when people are, so-called leaders are saying that enslaved people benefited from slavery. I mean, let's talk about the delta here in terms of the work that needs to be done. It's profound.
Madam Vice President, I want to move.
Ooh, Lord, we dodged a lot with that one. This conversation of reparations is just an entitled one. Reminds me, she was the VP at the time. She's claiming she would have did this when she had, I'm just saying. Feels more like it's about local payout, man. But who pays for it? Who qualifies? And more importantly, who decides when the debt is paid? Let's pause for a second and zoom out. I want y'all to check out Thomas Sowell, man. This guy right here is somebody that I look up to. But he explains how slavery was global and guilt is political.
It would be nice to know his evidence for what he said, just to be old-fashioned about it. No, it was a rotten system. But I don't know how we get from that to reparations. I mean, what we see in the United States in terms of the bad things, you see all around the world. If you were to give reparations to everyone whose ancestors had been slaves, I suspect that you would have to give reparations to more than half the entire population of the globe. Slavery was not confined to one set of races. I suspect that most of the people who were either slaves or slave owners around the world were neither white nor black. I mean, this was a universal curse of the human species.
Africa, the Middle East, Asia, slavery took place everywhere.
And it continued elsewhere long after it was abolished in the Western countries.
All right. Let me try as sticking with Ta-Nehisi Coates. Shelby Steele talks about white guilt. And in Ta-Nehisi Coates, you get almost the counterpart of that, a kind of African-American claim against the white guilt. And this seems, beginning with the abolitionists, even beginning before the Civil War, you seem almost every generation, there's some expression that racism and slavery, as Shelby calls it, correctly, of course, the sin of slavery is so deeply, and it's something we still live with. How do we expiate it? How do we get past it? Is there something we can do to relieve ourselves of this legacy?
Oh, I think you should repeat it. If you were a slave owner, I don't see any reason why you should feel differently. On the other hand, I can't get over the idea of A, apologizing for what B did.
Okay.
Even when they're contemporaries, much less when one is dead and the other is alive.
All right.
I mean, Scalia, I remember was saying, that I owe no man anything because people who look like me did something to people who look like him.
Exactly. Guilt politics isn't just about payment. It's about power. When you realize slavery wasn't uniquely American and it didn't only target one race, you'll have to ask yourself, are we correcting history? I don't think so. Or rewriting it to weaponize shame. What did I just say? Are we rewriting it? Or are we rewriting it? I can't even say this word, these string of words together. To weaponize shame. Listen.
If somebody decides to loot a Gucci or a Macy's or a Nike, because that makes sure that that person eats. That makes sure that that person has clothes. That's reparations. That is reparations. Anything they want to take it, because these businesses have insurance. They're going to get their money back. My people aren't getting anything. If somebody decides to loot a Gucci...
This? Yeah, I remember this. This is how deep it goes. Theft justified as justice. And when the movement start calling a crime a form of repayment, how long before the government follows their language with policy? If you think these are just one-off extremists, wait until you hear this.
And we did some expansion at the airport, particularly in the cargo. And do you know there's never been a prime construction company that has led growth for an airport, particularly in cargo, anywhere in the United States of America? But BOA Construction received the prime construction contract at O'Hare under my administration. It's the first black prime construction worker company to have a prime contract anywhere in the United States of America. And that's critical, not just for BOA Construction, but for the lives that he's going to transform because he's hiring them. But it's also critical for other major construction companies or mid-sized construction companies that are black-owned to know that there is a mayor who sees them and is going to work hard to ensure that whether you're developing homes, whether you are, looking to help take advantage of the opportunities through aviation, whether it's entrepreneurship to provide a service, that there are resources available for you in the city of Chicago. And one thing that I know for sure that I have to do over these next 2 years, every single dime that our people have been robbed of, I want to make sure that that is returned 2, 3-fold, because I believe in something called press down, running over. That is what we have to make sure that happens within our communities.
That's not equality. That's targeted redistribution. And they're proud of it. Ask yourself this. If a mayor said every dime white people lost would be returned threefold. Would the media call that progress or supremacy? It's good to know that not everyone's buying it.
Reparation. And no, not from white people. I want it from these fucking black leaders and these fucking black celebrities that have been making money off of us as they sell us up a river for years and years and years. And I know black people don't want to hear these hard truths, but these fucking people owe us. I'm fucking tired of them telling us that we're fucking victims as they prosper and they make millions off of us. These are the same people that tell us to hate white people as they simultaneously date white people and make money with them. Mind you, they're telling you you can't accomplish things because you're black, all while accomplishing things while being black. Not to mention these people making money off of black pain and black suffering, all while promoting violence and promiscuity and drugs. These people are disgusting and they have no souls and they definitely do not worship God. I'm telling you, black people, we need to wake the fuck up and fucking hold people accountable for the shit that the people that are actually doing the shit to you, hold them the fuck accountable. Stop always looking at white people.
Come on now, preach, sister, preach. So we've got parodies that turned out to be real. Politicians weaponizing guilt, and now black voices turning on each other over who really owes what in that second parody. But I'm telling you, that was like a prophecy for me. I don't want it to be true, but the truth, it was never just about money. It was always about control. So here's the real question. If reparations are just the beginning, then what comes next? I'm saying if the debt is never considered paid, then who's really benefiting? I don't know, man. Is this justice or is this a new hustle wearing a no wound? Y'all be safe. Go check on somebody today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.